So I've got some pretty big news. The rulebook for saving a life, it just got a major overhaul. We're talking about the 2025 CPR guidelines, and they are here. The whole point is to make it way easier for you, for anyone, to step up and be a hero in an emergency. So let's just jump right in and break down what's new and, why it actually matters.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You're out somewhere, maybe grabbing a coffee, and the person at the next table just collapses. You know that moment where everyone just freezes? That split second of panic and hesitation? That is exactly what these new guidelines are trying to eliminate.
And really, this is the main takeaway. The whole goal here isn't just to, update the science. It's about empowering more people just like you, to actually do something. Because when a heart stops, every single second counts. A confident person stepping in can literally be the difference between life and death.
All right, so how are they actually making this stuff simpler? Well, it really all comes down to getting rid of those mental roadblocks. The things that make us freeze up in a high-stress moment. So let's dive into the first big change. And trust me, it's a huge one.
Okay, this right here, this is probably the biggest structural change, and honestly, it's a total game changer. For as long as I can remember, you had all these different rules, right? One set for adults, another for kids, one for in the hospital, another for out. I mean, talk about confusing. Well, all that potential for confusion in the middle of a crisis, it's gone. That's right. No more trying to do mental gymnastics in the heat of the moment thinking, wait, is this the adult protocol or the child one? Now there is just one single, universal chain of survival. And what that means is you can put all your focus where it needs to be, on taking action.
And here it is. This is basically the new roadmap to saving a life. But what's really powerful here, and what I want you to notice, are the bookends. Look at the start: prevention and preparedness. I mean, that's about stopping the emergency before it even starts. And then look at the end: post-arrest care and survivorship. This is a huge deal. It's a new focus on helping people not just survive, but actually thrive and have a good quality of life afterward. It's so much more holistic,
Okay, so that's the big picture, one unified chain. But beyond that, the guidelines also got way more specific and clearer on some of the actual hands-on stuff you might have to do. So let's take a look at some of those details. All right, let's talk choking, because the guidance here is now crystal clear. For an adult or a child who's conscious, it's simple. You're going to alternate 5 good, solid back blows with 5 abdominal thrusts. But, and this is super important, for an infant, you never use abdominal thrusts. Their little bodies are just too fragile. Instead, it's 5 back blows followed by 5 gentle chest thrusts. That's a distinction that can prevent serious injury, so it's a really important one to know.
And hey, while we're on the topic of infants, there's another huge CPR update you absolutely need to know about. You know that old 2-finger compression technique that pretty much everyone was taught? Well, it's out. Forget about it. The evidence is clear that the 2-thumb encircling technique, or even using the heel of one hand, gets much better compressions. So the bottom line is, if you learned it the old way, it's definitely time for a refresh.
Now, this is a really big one. For the first time ever, these guidelines are directly taking on the opioid crisis with super clear instructions for the public. These are the signs to look out for. Being able to spot these signs quickly is the absolute first step in saving someone's life from an overdose. And it doesn't just stop with recognizing the signs. It's about empowering you to do something. The new guidelines actually include a clear step-by-step process for anyone, any bystander, to administer naloxone, the overdose reversal drug. This is just a massive leap forward for public health. When you step back and look at all these changes, the single chain, the clearer instructions, it's all pointing in one direction. It's about turning regular people, bystanders, into heroes and turning victims into survivors. It's all about giving you the confidence and the right tools to step in when it really counts.
And here's the harsh truth. The reason all this is so important. A shocking number of people who have a cardiac arrest outside of a hospital still don't get any CPR before help arrives. And in so many of those cases, by the time the ambulance gets there, it's just too late. That gap, that terrifying gap between the 911 call and when the pros arrive, that's where you come in. Bystander CPR is literally the bridge that keeps someone alive.
So the big question is, how do we build that bridge? Well, you do it by creating an entire community of lifesavers. The new guidelines are really pushing for this massive effort. We're talking everything from big public campaigns to local training sessions. And check this out. They're emphasizing teaching CPR to kids as young as 12. Think about that. We're not just training a new generation, we're trying to build a whole culture where everyone is prepared to help.
I really love this quote because it just perfectly captures the new mindset. The goal isn't just to restart a heart anymore. We're thinking way beyond that now. We're thinking about the whole person, their brain function, their emotional recovery, their actual quality of life after the event. It's just a much more compassionate and, frankly, a much smarter way to think about what it means to truly save a life.
Okay, so we've gone through the what and the why. Now let's bring it all home. Let's talk about what all of this actually means for you and how these updates could play out in a real emergency.
And this chart really just sums it all up, doesn't it? For bystanders, for you, the message is loud and clear. Things are simpler now, it's easier to step in and help. For first responders, it means less confusion and better evidence-backed tools. And for kids and infants, it means more specific, age-appropriate care. I mean, it's pretty clear that with these new guidelines, everybody wins.
And at the end of the day, this is what it all boils down to. The experts have done their job. They've made the rules simpler, clearer, and more effective. Now the ball is in our court. It's up to us to be ready. The next life that's saved, it could honestly be because of you. So the only real question left is, are you ready?